by the city of Fulton, Whiteside County, Illinois, for a Yammer V1 or V1055 excavator. Can I have a motion to approve? A motion for that?
I'll make that motion. Support.
All right, discussion. Eric, do you want to explain anything on this quick?
So this is considered a mini excavator. We've been looking at purchasing one the last probably 2 years, but it just hasn't worked out in the budget. With paying the back truck off, we had some funds we can afford to do this finally. If some of you remember from last year, we had some areas in town where like coming down 3rd Avenue Hill towards 4th Street, the hills get overgrown and everybody's gotta creep a little bit further to the center line. This mower actually comes with a mowing, or this excavator comes with a mowing attachment. So we can help maintain those while also maintaining the bike path all at the same time. So it's gonna be a multi-use piece of equipment, and I think it'll be a great asset for the city.
Any questions, discussion?
Funding coming out of Public Works or?
Water sewer.
Any questions, discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Bergrat,
Yes.
Banker, Brondike, Wilkin, Van Campen. Yes. Ask. Yes. Boonstra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem King.
Yes. Right. Motion to approve and vote on ordinance to borrow funds by the city of Fulton, Whiteside County, Illinois, for Chevy Tahoes.
Is this the one we had previously discussed? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion? Questions?
This is the one we've given Chad the permission to move forward on. We're just voting to make it
We're just
official.
voting to
Got
make it. We're closer to the date now that we can do it,
Okay.
so,
And this good interest rate.
yeah. Any questions? Comments, concerns? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem King,
Yes.
Alderperson Bergrat,
Yes.
Banker, Mask. Yes. Van Campen. Yes. Wilkin, Boonstra,
Yes.
Brondike.
Okay. Motion to approve and vote on an ordinance amending chapter 112 of the codified ordinances of the city of Fulton captioned amusements for the purpose of regulation and permitted of special events.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Okay, questions? Is this Adam? No? You?
So this will change what was originally 90 days down to 45.
Okay.
That's really the only change that was made on it.
And that's what we talked about
Yep.
last meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
The other change was that they can no longer,
The insurance.
to get an insurance rider
Yep.
through a city, everybody has to provide their own insurance.
Okay.
In the minutes, I debated about bringing that up, and here's another opportunity there that it isn't that IML changed, it's that we've interpreted the eligibility correctly now. So that's why
It's
we
been
all had to
clarified.
get, yes, it has been clarified, so just wanted to make that, because they didn't change, it's just, yeah, make that appointment, so. Here.
All right, anything else? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Boonstra,
Yes.
Wilkin, Banker, Mask. Yes. Bergrat,
Yes.
Van Campen.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem King.
Yes.
5-0.
Motion to approve and vote on an ordinance amending the number of licenses issued under chapter 111 entitled alcoholic beverages.
So moved.
Boonstra.
Discussion, questions, comments?
I won't give you my support to this vote. I just feel like we just set the limitations on the number of gambling licenses and liquor licenses that we wanted to do in this area. And I think we've just added along with Triple Play, Eagle River Liquor, Cheers Corner, and then of course Julie's exists, so this will put a fifth one in the east side fold, and I just don't think it fits necessarily into the vision that we created when we decided on the number of licenses that we make available, so I don't know that that'll sway the vote, but I just wanted to speak to that and why I won't be supporting it.
Well, we're just approving one for Dolan.
So the way it was written is because if you're gonna vote affirmative on the next one, then we needed to add an additional B1.
Right.
So it's written with the two in there. If hopefully the council is not gonna vote affirmative on the next motion, then this motion would need to be amended to potentially pass it, but without two B1s, one B1 instead.
This is just to set it, and then if you didn't want to support it for another one there, it'd be the next item that we would want to vote on. And then we'd amend the first one to go back to one, two.
Okay. So you're saying this one just puts the ordinance in place offering a second license?
Right now, it has two. If the council ultimately does not want to give the license to Mr. Dolan on the next item,
It goes
then
back to
the
one.
motion should be amended to pass, but with only one B1 authorized.
Well, we've only had the one B1, we're making the change by
Right,
adding the
number
other one.
12, just to approve the license.
Right.
The only B1 we have right now is Julie's.
Yeah.
You have to create the B1 first.
Yeah, that's.
In order to vote for one. You raise a good point, I mean, we wrestle this all the time, somebody comes along and we think we have our number fixed, and then somebody comes along and you raise a good point.
So the reason why we put the classes in here now, the new classes and fees, is so that those fees can get into the ordinance before the May 1 renewal dates. Otherwise, we're gonna be on the old fees for another year. So what we did was go ahead and put in this ordinance, the new classifications, what the new hours are, if there's been any change, what the new application fees are, and then the limits that are gonna be present for.
So this is for
The
the
new
entirety of the
licenses.
grid?
Yeah,
is what
the
you're saying.
entirety for
Okay,
everything.
I
Right.
apologize, I was
But
misunderstanding that.
if ultimately the class, if ultimately the council's not gonna support the next measure, then we would just reintroduce
Okay.
the motion with the
Gotcha.
ordinance amended to state 1B1
I saw that
instead of
change
two.
was already in there, so that threw me off because
We just did it to-
intention was not to support.
Yeah, so the thought was we'd put it in there and then if the council decided, hey, we just wanna stick with one, then we can
Just
make the
amend that
change.
motion.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
I'm
way
with
we
you.
don't have to
Yep.
go another amendment with it if we do support it.
Got it.
You can pass the ordinance with that amended change, it's just in that case,
Okay,
that's gonna mean that Mr. Dolan doesn't get a license tonight.
Any other,
And I guess my only question is, where in the ordinance does it say that, let's say Julie's closes up tomorrow, that license is now available, that should be taken away? Is that in the ordinance?
That's what they support, that's what
I think we did put that in there.
I thought we were putting that in.
The issue here is that you're thinking of the entire comprehensive ordinance that you've been working on, but that apparently isn't ready yet.
Oh, okay, so.
So
we will
we're
get
just
to
trying
that.
to get the new fees
The
in.
B, the
yeah,
B1.
so we can
Okay.
get there.
Now, if ultimately you don't want to do this tonight, then table it and we can rework it for the next meeting, but we've gotta get this done and passed
Well,
before
yeah,
May.
it's to get the fees in there is what we're
Right.
doing
That's
now. The
because-
rest of it come in a meeting or two down the road.
This is when Renee starts working with the business owners to get, so we
their
don't.
annual fees, yeah.
Any
So
other,
you're right,
It
Terry,
sounds like
as a committee, we decided that we were gonna hold those numbers on line,
H,
which eliminates this where somebody comes in then at the last minute and wants one, so.
which is where the new numbers were listed.
Yeah, I see the new numbers, so that is actually creating that second B1.
Right now.
So if we
But
vote on
then
this, there
we
is
can pass
gonna
it
be a
with that
B1.
amendment, or we can table this for this particular meeting and we can put the old numbers back in temporarily.
Well, the one I think is in question, whether we're gonna get it.
We have to create it first to give it.
and that's what this is doing too. It does both, it does two things. it's our fees that we need it to be. And we'll add that one all in one, but if we need to go back and amend it, we can. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Why, if there's a concern, why don't we just take that piece out and just vote on the fees and get that done tonight, so that Renee's got that going forward? Approve the fees.
If we take that out, then we don't have a section in the ordinance that says how many licenses there are.
And you
This
don't
is
get to
amending that
We can
entire
always
section.
amend this.
This is deleting that entire section and replacing it with the new language.
Or just go to one, ratify what's in here to 1B1 and go with it, and that's how things are right now. And that establishes the new fees. And then until we get our new ordinance finalized, then we can add that second B1.
You could always pass it with just the 1B1, and then at the next meeting, if you know, after you guys have done, item number 13, you could always come back, amend that, and add one if you so choose. That way you're not tied to it if you don't want to.
Okay.
We can amend it tonight.
Well, because we consistently said we're not gonna add another B1, and then all of a sudden one comes along and requests, and we're like, oh yeah, let's do this. And so
See where the.
it's confusing to us,
Come back
who
and
talked about it for
amend it
weeks.
if needed.
And you really, I mean, you're gonna give the B1, right now, there is no B1 available for
Right.
Nolan. So if you pass this with no extra B1, he cannot have a B1 license.
Yeah, I know, that's
Then
what I
that
mean.
motion, that
It
item
should at
is
least,
gone.
it should get at
It's
least
tabled.
voted on and then go out and then go into the next motion and talk about it. See what I'm
And
saying?
if
But
the next
if you
motion
pass
doesn't
it, you
pass,
can't
you
go
can.
back.
Then we
and
can go back
unpass it.
and, huh?
If you pass it, you can't go back and unpass it without a new ordinance to
Yeah, we can
what you just did.
always turn around in the next meeting and amend it then, right? You can't amend it tonight then,
No, you can't amend it tonight.
so we can't even amend it down to one.
You can amend it down to one, but once you passed it, you can't do a new amendment to add that second one back.
Yeah, we gotta do a different one. Right.
But it sounds like there's additional
Because
discussion
this-
to be
this
had for
also
that second
increased-
B1.
This also increased like the Class C licenses, because you had
Right.
talked about doing
And we were
a
okay
total
with that,
18,
cause that
but
was
that added
restaurants,
a
that's
night.
what she's
Restaurants, we
coming
were
back.
okay with that.
I just think when we talk about the vision of our town as far as the number of gambling dens and things that we were willing to do, that's where these numbers came into play.
Well,
So
we
we've
talked
got,
about that.
we've
a
got
bit.
some on the west end too. I mean, there's,
That's what I'm saying, there's
Probably-
plenty in our town.
it's close to being the same on the whole ends.
The question I have for the council then is, do you not want the new license limits set in this? And you want to stick with the current license limits until we get the full ordinance passed?
It's up to these guys.
Because if that's what you want, then this whole section H has to be rewritten.
I thought what we wanted to accomplish tonight was to get those license fees approved. So that we can proceed with that, because this is the time that they, when you move it, yeah. So that's what I thought the purpose was here, and then.
And you know,
It's kind of like putting the cart before the horse, because we're putting a license out there, but then we're ultimately may not vote to have him get that license, and then we have a B1 open that we didn't give him. So it's kind of, to me, like,
it sounds like, so we need to discuss the second B1 more, so I'd say get rid of H here, pass it so the new fees go through, and then we'll have a discussion.
Well,
That doesn't work.
Here's the thing is, we've had the discussion here a couple times already, and I thought that that's what we were going, was giving the B1. No one really put up any type of protest, that's why it was set up this way. No one had concerns that, you know, when we, because we've had a couple nights of discussion on this. So,
Well, if there's reservation, we ought to table it. Or whatever it is legally we can do and move off, revisit it.
Section H is written for the, what was discussed last meeting with the new chart with the new number of licenses.
but that
So
didn't have
it's
to be-
not reflecting what you currently have, because this is more licenses than you currently have.
We want that to go.
So if you don't wanna vote on increasing the number of licenses right now, then table it so that H can be adjusted to match what we have now.
Then we got 2 more weeks before, 2 more weeks before we can get the new fees in there, so.
Is that what you're saying, Rebecca, that we can't change this motion to just cover the fees part of this ordinance?
So what,
Not the way it's written, it would be very
so if you approve this tonight, you're approving everything that you see written in there. So if there's something you don't like and you figure it out at the next time, now the ordinance has to be redone again. So we're better off, let's do it right the first time, and my suggestion would be to table it until the next meetings,
I agree.
so we can have all
There's
the
some
information.
reservation, let's wait.
So we can have all the information put forward, and then, but you would also, do you want 2 B1s on there? Do you want it left as 1? And then, you guys can discuss that with the full council.
And that's what I wonder if needs to happen in the future, like we need to vote on the adding of the license for.
And that's how it has been done in the past, is if there's not a license, the council has to approve an
I'm not
ordinance
against the
to
new
add.
structure, I'm just
Right.
against adding a new
Right.
B1.
But yeah, so if you were to approve this tonight, you would have 2 B1 licenses.
Well, one available, one in use is.
Yeah.
Right,
already
yeah,
used.
but there would be one additional one available. Right. So do you want the additional one, or if you want it to be just 1, then we can move forward with this next time, have everything ready to go, 1B1 license, and then if you so choose in the future to give him an additional B1, you would have to redo the ordinance to add an additional B1 for Dolan.
Do we have enough time to get it all passed for the fees?
Yeah,
She
if
does
we
that
get
in
to the
May.
next meeting.
Okay.
Does she do that in May, Ally?
Yes.
Yes.
So she has
So
time.
if it's on the next meeting, you still have enough time to get the new fees in.
Cause you can have an ordinance just for
Yeah.
fees
And
for
the
what you have
classification,
available.
just limiting, with my understanding, you're wanting the same limits, at least for now, is what we had before.
Well, I think it gets confusing because you're adding in this B1 request from Mr. Dolan, but you're adding in at the time that we're approving our new fee listing, and they're not
The
one and
license
same.
has to exist first,
I understand
and
that.
both of these were on the same
They were
agenda.
put so we only had to write 1 ordinance instead of writing 1 and then turn around and come and rewrite next time. Cause the way I understood it, we were all in favor of it. That we didn't have anybody that was questioning it at that
That
time.
wasn't the time to vote, now tonight's the time to vote, so that's why I'm sharing. So whatever we need to do.
I would say table it then. You don't
Who
have to
made the
rework.
motion?
Table, I would say table it, let's write the ordinance for what we currently have on the books. And then if we so choose to add one for whatever reason, somebody, a business, restaurant, whatever, then you can add the ordinance later. Because then at least if you approve it at the next one, at least that B1 will be created. And then Dan Dolan, if he so chooses, can come back and say, I'd like the B1, and then at the next meeting, they could say yay or nay. But until the B1 is created, you really can't vote to give him a B1 license.
We could refer it back to our committee and let us revisit it again before the next meeting. If you want, we could get together.
Yeah.
We thought we were done, but we could come back and revisit, because this was a new wrinkle that just happened at the end of the last meeting, and we've not had another meeting, so.
Yeah, I would say have a meeting in the next 2 weeks, so that way that can be ironed out and we can let Rebecca know what we want the ordinance to read. But yeah, I think there's too many questions, it needs to be tabled.
Maybe have this meeting in time to get the minutes in for the next, so that your minutes are in the next meeting so we can read those.
Or we can just send it out to you, Keith, we'll send the minutes, we can send the minutes out right away, we don't have to wait until the next meeting. Since this is something that we wanted to move on. What would that be?
Okay, who made the
I'll make a
motion?
motion to table it.
Who made the motion originally? Huh?
Mask and Boonstra.
Yeah, so you'd have to,
I make a motion that we table this topic to the next meeting, and
you're all right with that too then, right?
and we ask the committee to reconvene and Then in the end,
Roll call.
Alderperson Mask,
yes.
Bergrat,
Yes.
Banker, Brondike, Mayor Pro Tem King,
Yes.
Wilkin, Van Campen.
Just a second.
Yes.
Okay, done?
Yes.
Boonstra.
Yes.
Okay, I thought there was one more. All right, what questions did you have, sir?
I'm sorry.
Okay, I didn't know if
I
you had
was
a question.
tracking who made the motion, sorry.
Okay, she made the motion, Terry seconded.
Thank you.
Okay, so then we'll table, or we're gonna skip over 13 because we can't do nothing with it anyway. Motion to approve and vote on an ordinance approving the settlement agreement with David Bartles to resolve case 2021L47.
Make the motion.
Support.
Okay, discussion?
Let's get it finalized.
Was there ever any thought, or I thought there was a thought, of contacting Mr. Shirk, just saying that this is where we were with this? Since he was our
That
city
would be part
attorney
of
at the
this
time?
motion, so we'll have to talk about that at a different time.
Okay. I thought we had discussed that at one point.
Well, it's not part of this.
Okay.
All right, roll call.
Alderperson Van Campen,
Yes.
Wilkin, Mask,
Yes.
Boonstra,
Yes.
Brondike, Mayor Pro Tem King,
Yes.
Banker, Bergrat,
Yes.
Eric, you'll take care of that?
I think that would be up to the attorney, yeah. We'll just forward this over to our attorney and they'll take care of it.
Will you take care, okay. Okay. Motion to approve and vote on the collateral assignment reimbursement to the developer for redevelopment project costs.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Eric?
So essentially what this is the TIF agreement we will have with Dan Dolan. So the 90% for the first 5, 80% for the remainder of the TIF. This will go to pay a note that he is taking out from a bank for, I believe it was solar panels is what I read. But this, instead of us giving the check to Dolan, we will actually just make that payment directly to his bank. It's fairly common to happen with the TIF agreement.
Any questions, concerns, comments?
I just think it's important for all of us to know that when we get involved with these TIFs, how much it costs the city to get that business in. I mean, it's $515,000 that we pay, we're paying his, in essence, we're paying his real estate taxes.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, this is essentially, we're paying 90% of his real estate tax.
And that's what you know going into that TIF, but it turns out to be a lot of money. We get new business.
That's right.
10%'s better than nothing.
Mhm.
So, roll call, please.
Alderperson Mask,
Yes.
Boonstra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem King,
Yes.
Brondike, Bergrat,
Yes.
Wilkin, Van Campen,
Yes.
Banker.
Motion to approve and vote on First Amendment to redevelopment agreement. Should I get a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Oh, support.
Now, Eric?
This is what we talked about last time, how the TIF agreement wasn't wrote correctly to begin with. So this is the amendments to change it to the correct verbiage to be the 90% for the first 5, 80% for the remainder of the TIF. So that's all this is cleaning that language up moving forward.
Questions, comments, concerns? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Mask. Yes. Boonstra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem King,
Yes.
Brondike, Bergrat,
Yes.
Wilkin, Van Campen,
Yes.
Banker.
All right, motion to approve and vote on comprehensive and strategic planning proposal for the city of Fulton. And we are going to basically table this one to give some more time for everybody to read on it.
We talked about it.
Yeah, we can talk.
It'll be just discussion tonight, no voting.
Yeah, we're just basically gonna start our committee of the whole discussion.
We put it on as vote just in case you decided you did wanna move forward with it, but it doesn't have to be voted on tonight.
It just was a lot to digest, and there was a
There
lot
is.
of other stuff in here, and so I was one that said, can we just have a little more time to talk about it and think about it, and it's, I'm certainly in favor of it, it's just that we have a little more time.
So this is,
This is actually gonna be the start of discussion, so we'll talk about it and then we'll move on to the next part of it.
this is just like it says, a comprehensive plan, and with this comprehensive plan, it's gonna take probably a little over a year to get this fully developed. So that's why we're hoping to get a strategic plan, which is a shorter term plan, going first. Because that's something we can use like in the next 5 years. But a comprehensive plan, we're looking down the road, 5, 10, 15, 20 years on the vision we want to see Fulton moving forwards. And then as things get completed in town, we can take those off and then we can add different things to that plan. But it at least gives us a vision moving forward, how we want this town to go. So right now, we don't have anything set in stone as far as a plan for Fulton. This is gonna be built from the ground up. So I feel like this is a great time for us to be undertaking this, mainly because Fulton is essentially landlocked and we don't have a whole lot of opportunities for future developments. At least with this, we can figure out a good way to help promote the businesses that are here, help promote Fulton as a whole. And that's what that comprehensive plan will do is kind of put us on the map, but also help us have a vision to move Fulton forward.
So they'll open up all kinds of avenues that we have not internally come up with yet.
And a lot of grants ask if this is part of your comprehensive plan, and right now we don't have one, so, we're checking no on that box, but if we can get something moving forward, that'll open us up to many different opportunities. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that leads us to more and more grants.
So there was 2 in the packet, do you have a recommendation that you're?
So there's actually 3, this one did come in Friday, but not till late, and I didn't see it till Saturday, but they technically had until today to get them in.
Gotcha.
So one is from Northern Illinois University, and they have a government studies program. And that was one of the first ones we reached out to. Morrison just did a strategic plan with them. So we thought, we'll reach out to them as well. And that is the first one that you come to.
I love how thorough that one was.
They are very thorough, and speaking to Morrison, they do a good job, but this is what NIU does. That's what they do. They help towns develop comprehensive plans, strategic plans. The second one was from Blackhawk Hills Regional Council. That one is a lot more dialed back, as they help with more regional planning, but we're maybe not everything that we're looking for. I'm sure they could help us out, and that kind of reflects on the cost, because with the strategic plan, I don't feel they go as in-depth as NIU or MSA did. But anything is better than what we have at this point in time. So this is an option for us. But like I said, if we wanna spend the money and do it, I feel like we need to do it right and make sure we're crossing off everything we wanna see out of this. Cause this is it's not cheap, but it's also, if you're gonna do it, you wanna do it right the first time. MSA, they have theirs in, and theirs is, I would say, very comparable to what NIU's is. Maybe it goes a little more in depth on some things that NIU doesn't do. They are a local firm to us. They are down in the Quad Cities, with offices in Minnesota and Wisconsin. So they're a more regional engineering firm, but they are big in the planning section of it.
Well, I appreciate giving us a little more time to look at these open, yeah, to see when.
With the amount of money these are these guys willing to come here and kind of present to us what?
Yeah, so, NIU would prefer to do more things through like a Zoom or Microsoft Teams. MSA is willing to come here more often, mainly because they are so local. But, you know, with that, the more times you want them to come here, obviously that drives the cost up.
Well, before we even make a decision on who we're gonna go with, are they
Right.
willing to come in and do a presentation on?
I don't,
This is what your money's gonna, you know.
I guess I don't know, Ally, do you know, I don't think NIU ever really said anything about coming here and doing like a presentation per se. I'm sure they would if we asked, and I know MSA, they can come up and give some kind of presentation if we'd like to see something. But yeah, MSA is they're an engineering firm, and NIU is obviously this is actually will be a project for somebody looking to go into some kind of public administration. This is part of their degree. They help communities do a comprehensive plan or a strategic plan, so.
Clinton uses the University of Iowa, so
Yep.
it's a governmental class, it's
Yep.
studying how to do this, and then they bring them in and they spend a semester there and
Yep.
doing.
Cause the only NIUs will take a little bit longer to complete. Obviously, they work mostly in school time, but they do a little bit throughout the summer and winter breaks, but majority of what they would do would be during school. So the lead time's a little bit longer, but
All the breakouts that they did, not just with the council, but with residents, with different committees within the town is.
yeah, so there's a lot of subgroups that'll happen out of this that one helps the community have input in, where Fulton's going. But then it also gives business owners in town, they may not be a resident of Fulton, but they have vested interest in Fulton, and that gives them some skin in the game as well. So I think it's a good thing that it gets everybody a chance to be heard, while also, letting the council be heard as well, because ultimately you're the leaders of the town, so obviously your opinions matter. So it gives us a guide, and then they'll take all that information and sort through it, and everything will be listed out, and then it's just a matter of, we just have to prioritize what we wanna see done and how quickly we wanna try and do some of these projects, but.
Well, that's what I wonder too, it's like Terry has a good idea about hearing from each one of them or reading through these more thoroughly and picking out, okay, maybe the middle of the road company. Or we can ask them to do this thing that this
Yep.
bigger price tag was gonna do for us and see if they can
Yep.
add that in, if it's not specifically in their
Yeah.
offer and come to some sort of compromise that way
Yeah,
too.
that's why I like having three of them to look at and see if
Fair and
Yeah,
contrast.
and with the price tag of this, I definitely wanted to give more than one option, because it is a big price tag, but there's so many moving parts to it as well, so it's definitely best to do some research into it before we say, hey, well, this is where we're gonna go with it.
Yeah.
But I can try and see if they can come maybe here in April at one of the meetings, just to kind of go over what we're looking at doing, or even if we could do a Zoom meeting with them, just if there's any questions the council has, that would be the time to ask.
Well, I'm sure we'll give us some time between now and the next meeting.
And I can try and answer questions that, may come up between now and the next meeting. If not, I can very easily reach out to them to, try and get a solid answer.
I think it's something we definitely want to move towards, is just figuring out the best way to
Yeah.
do it, so.
Yep. Yeah, and like I said, nothing was gonna happen until May, after new budget year starts anyways, so this is just kind of some information moving forward, and start thinking about it now, because before we know it, May will be here.
Right.
Anything else? All right, discussion, request to vacate an alley at Grondike at 1029 9th Avenue.
Looks to me to be pretty similar, like we just did with one in the first ward before, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah, because he purchased the two parcels north of his current house, and he just wants to vacate the alley in between.
he takes care of it anyway.
He does.
It's like-
He maintains it right
It's
now.
like Mr. Baker did with
Yeah.
this, they are already taking care of it, they just want to smooth the lawn out.
Yep, yep.
So I'm supportive. You're looking for a vote there?
No.
No, just discussion for,
Discussion.
yep, okay.
We can put it on for next meeting if you guys want.
I didn't have any
You're all right
questions
with
on
that?
it, yeah.
Tori, you set that on for a vote next time. We're discussing this right now. Okay, let's move on. Discussion, Ryan Eisen, property development on 11th Avenue in Fulton. Ryan, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I'd just like to give an update on, last I was checking on road cost, looking for the city to pay for the road to put in there. I've got a total cost of $48,000 to to core out the road, where the existing alley is between the 11th and 12th Avenue of the property that we were talking. Looking to have them, for my guys to core that out. This would be for me paying for it and be reimbursed from the city. So I would core out the property, 24-foot wide road, 12-inch rock, 2.5-inch asphalt, which is equivalent to a 90,000-pound road. So plenty of road for garbage trucks or any material trucks coming in, bringing materials in, whatever. I'd look at starting that. I'm actually in the process right now. I have a signed contract with the seller at this point. So hopefully close on the property in a couple weeks. With that said, moving forward, getting permits and everything to start building. Had quite a few inquiries already. So I think it's moving along pretty good pace for me. Yeah, the main thing would be, the main reason I'm here is just to get something figured out with the road. On the price of the road, I would put that money up, and then we can divide that into 2 payments or up to 3 payments, equal payments. And those would start, I would like to get the road in. I'd put the gravel in right away, get that done, and then asphalt probably September, October 1st is the latest, and then if I could get first payment for that. And then the second payment in 26, October 1st to 26, and the third payment, October 1st of 27.
Brian, at our last meeting, Sue brought up that somebody in her ward had done something similar to what you did, but they had paid for their own road. I'm just wondering what has been the past history in Fulton. Do we do this when a development comes in? Eric, do you have any background or anything you can share?
I've looked, but I haven't been able to find any solid information that's set in stone of what we've done in the past. And me and Adam kind of looked around the one day and we couldn't find anything.
I don't have a background to say, yeah, let's pay for this, if that's not what's typically done.
I think each one's done by its individually decided. I don't know what the deal was when they put those, because I think that's the condos right up there, right? That you were talking about?
But yeah, our condos, they don't do, but Suncrest Drive, they do. We do, the city does.
Yeah.
And that's all dead end. Both
So-
ways, both ends, so it's 50-50.
Yeah.
Really, whatever the council would decide, I'm looking at this more as a tax reimbursement on the property. So it'd be, obviously Ryan will have property taxes he has to pay. This would essentially just be similar to a TIF district funding, but he's not within a TIF, but it's not uncommon to, create tax incentives to help people make projects happen.
Yeah, if we look at it, there's gonna be 6.
So actually, change there. I met with a realtor and looking at more so houses on the north side facing to the north,
Yes.
like Mr. Boonster brought up. Pretty good idea there. So, and then looking at 3 sets of townhomes on the south side of the alleyway, which would be the new roadway, and those would face that new road with walkout to the
So there'd be 6 of those then.
six total sellable units. And then I'm looking at three really nice yards, but maybe getting 4, single-family homes in there.
That's great.
So you're changing the numbers. You're going to have 6 duplexes with 12 units, and now,
No,
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 3
well, that's what he told us last week when he was here.
that's what he was doing. Now,
Now
we
you're
brought
changing.
some stuff up last time.
Yeah.
And he's looking at putting
residential
3
homes.
on the south side. They're giving 6 units and then 3 to 4 residential homes, single-family homes.
Question on that road, you put a fire hydrant back in there for the duplexes on that dead end side of it?
Wouldn't need one because it can be accessed off of 12th. There's hydrants,
But then you're gonna come up the hill with it on 12th then?
I mean, you're talking a 100-foot section of hose.
Up a hill?
Yeah, well, you lay in from the hydrant up the hill.
But you're dead ending to the west side of that, so you've got a
Right.
duplex right there.
But it's a lot more expensive to add water to that project, and that would be on the city to add that. And for not a huge benefit. Now, I'm not saying we couldn't make a T somewhere in there and pop one in on the 10th Street side. I'm not saying you couldn't do that, and we'd have to do some research to see if that's even feasible, but, I mean, it's an option, but as of right now,
'Cause I think that the hydrant's on supposed to be on the east side of 12th Street over there.
so let's see. There should be one on either side of that block, one, and then on the 11th Avenue side, same. Cause there would be one at 10th Street and 11th Avenue, and then there's another one at 11th Street and 11th Avenue. So each corner should have, there will be a hydrant accessible.
Did the Realtor have any other thoughts to share on the housing situation, what they thought?
Definitely needed. Definitely, I mean, they're getting calls all the time for houses over this way. I see it up my way from Thompson, you know,
Will the single-family homes be in the same price point as what the?
single, a little bit higher. Single family houses are gonna be around 315 to 325, somewhere in there, and depending on how, you know, I like to build them, frame them up, and then let them come in, decide how much they wanna spend on everything.
Materials
Yep.
inside.
So you guys won't, well, we don't really have to vote anything on this, do we?
No, I think we probably need to discuss if we wanna put it to a vote for next meeting to decide if the city's gonna reimburse for the
Yeah.
road.
That would be the only thing we vote on.
I think we can all agree the housing is needed.
Yeah.
It's such a attractive location, so it's nice that there's gonna be attractive.
Yep. So you got the park right there, you got the school, both directions.
Yep.
I mean, couldn't really draw it up any better for an empty city lot.
Yeah.
I actually had somebody come in my office last week and, express their pleasure that we are adding some housing, cause his daughter needs a home, and so he's excited this is going to be hopefully moving forward because Fulton needs it.
And at those price points, it's gonna be good to the housing around it too, so.
And I didn't even know he knew about it, but he knew all about it, so.
Older gentleman?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yep,
All right.
sounds good.
So I guess where do we go from here? It'll be up for like a vote for next?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Three $16,000 payments from October 1st, 2025 to October 1st, 2027.
Yeah, I think we'll vote on that the next meeting then.
And I'm so on those numbers there, I'm getting the loan for the so-called subdivision.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm covering the interest on it as my part. I mean, it's not quite as much as the 48 obviously, but still it's. So I got a little bit of skin in the game.
Yeah.
so are you looking at kind of giving you an idea that we're gonna go with this so that you know where to go?
So yes, I'm, yes. I'm getting the property bought.
Okay.
We're gonna make this work somehow.
Yeah.
We'll figure out something.
Okay. You guys good on that?
Yep.
Good to vote then next time?
Sounds good. Back tomorrow night then for a vote? Just try it.
Yeah, second Tuesday of April.
Yeah, there you go. Alrighty, I thank you guys for your consideration.
We appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Thanks, Brian.
Hey, Ryan, can I talk to you real quick over?
Yep.
Outside here, we've got some siding that's popping up.
Okay.
Can you guys take care of that for us?
Yep, I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it, I was told by a citizen,
Okay.
and, so I didn't get out there before the meeting, but since you're here, I'll ask you about it, so
Sounds good.
if you could take care of that.
I'll take a look at
appreciate
it next couple days.
All right, sounds good.
Alrighty, thank you.
Hope you'll have any updated, drawings next meeting by chance?
I certainly can. Want me to bring in just something with the houses on the north side?
Yeah.
No, this is gonna change a lot, right?
That's the house plan, or the townhouse plan, yes.
Yeah, that's gonna change.
Thanks, Rick.
Sounds good, thank you. Have a good one.
Okay, so we good here, move on? Discussion on the marina, Eric?
Just kind of left this open for you guys to discuss more. Seemed like, there's a lot of discussion last meeting. Me and Chad just wanted, we want everybody to be on board with it if this is the route we're gonna take, so we just wanted to leave it open for discussion if you guys wanted.
Are we talking the building?
All of it in general, probably. Yeah,
Did we get anything back on,
Yeah, the appraisal.
nothing yet.
Oh, I thought that's what we were gonna be.
But
more
I think
the-
in the comprehensive plan, I did see that they had in here, marina was part of that plan.
Well, hey, we may still have the marina come, next year. I mean, I have no idea where that appraisal is gonna come back. I mean, I'm hoping it'll come back lucrative, but I mean, you never know, and who's to say that the city wants to go that route? We may decide, hey, let's keep moving this thing forward and, fingers crossed we'll have a good year, but at least we have that option to decide what we wanna do, when that time comes.
Because our time restraint is that the renters are re-upping their contract today.
So the city will still maintain and run the marina through this year, and then, obviously this summer we'll have to make some kind of decision as to what we're gonna do in 2026. Whether we're gonna keep it, whether we're gonna, try and lease it out, there's options out there, it's just, what do we feel is gonna be the best route for the marina? So that'll be some upcoming conversations that we need to have. But yeah, as of right now, we haven't gotten the appraisal back. I was hoping to see something here this week,
That's what I was
but
hoping we were gonna hear tonight.
yeah, I was hoping to see something this week, but I haven't gotten it yet, so.
There's just so many moving parts, because we gotta consider if the launch stays public or if it goes private, and then what
Yep.
that looks like, and.
Yeah, there's a lot to it, and, like I said, as of right now, this year will be city-owned, city-run. And no deviation from that, we're really looking towards 2026.
Any discussion with the current renters down there who are, any discussion with them?
Oh yeah, so we had a marina meeting, last Thursday, with some discussion about it, and they had raised some of those same points as, would the ramp stay open to the public, what would, what all goes with it, so I mean, there's definitely discussions, and they understand, and some of them are even interested in possibly purchasing it. And the handful that were here Thursday, they understand where the marina's at and what needs to be done, and everything costs a lot of money, but They understand why we're looking at it, but also I reiterated to them that, you know, we haven't made a final decision on this yet, and that's kind of been put out there, and I said, no, nothing's been decided. I said, we're still maintaining everything. This is still a city-owned marina. You know, obviously, once the appraisal comes back, there'll be some talks, but everything will stay status quo until at least 2026.
It's nice to keep them informed since they're
Yep.
renters down there and keep
Yep.
them in the loop that they don't hear about it from someplace else. I think that's
Does the
nice.
appraiser give you any sort of ETA on that?
He just told me it'd be close to the end of this month, so fingers crossed this week sometime.
Eric, the launch down there,
Yep.
you know, you and I have discussed that a little bit.
Mhm.
And I can't remember what you said approximately what it'd cost to fix that launch.
It'll be pricey. I mean, you're probably looking at, in order to do it and do it right, anywhere between, I'd say $500,000 and $750,000. Cause you'd have to build some kind of coffer dam out there to be able to, you know, pour slabs into the water, which significantly adds to the price. You can pour in place and push in, but you know, there's also risk with that as well, so, any way you slice it, it's gonna be expensive.
Cause
And
I
also
know-
you have to have the funds to help repay that back if you were to loan it out.
Cause I know I think it's the south side. If you go with the water low, you go back too much, you'll drop the trailer off the end.
The north side is the same way,
And
and that's after it's been poured in, and
I know my
so,
neighbor did that, and he broke the axle on his trailer when it dropped off. So,
It's all of its
it's
problems,
another
though.
thing to
People
think
still
about
like
it.
it.
It's a lot of money to get that fixed.
They don't want it to go away.
And the water's been low the last few times.
We're gonna check with Simple Grants at one point too, I think, to see if they had any
Yeah.
opportunities for us.
What kind of grants are available on those type? I mean,
Well,
that's
that's
so
a-
different than anything we've talked about.
Chad had just said something, Albany got the boat access grant, the bad grant. The only caveat to that would be you have to have the matching funds up to $200,000. And that's where we would struggle a little bit because we do not have those funds readily available, without dipping into general reserves.
Is that something we could apply to FACE for?
I don't know that would qualify for a FACE grant, not that I can think of. There are grants, fingers crossed what
Certainly not
would
match.
happen.
Gotcha.
City of Clinton has applied to be a port city. I know that designation takes a little bit to come through. But if they get designated a port city, that opens us up to the potential for millions of dollars in grants. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that actually happens and we can utilize it. But it's still early stages at this point. We're just, you know, fingers crossed they can get it soon. But I don't know exactly how long that'll take either.
There's a lot of balls in the air as
Yep.
far as making a decision.
There is, yep.
Well, natural resources are incredibly important for a city to have one, and we have one of the greatest. So we need to really think long and hard about, do we wanna?
Yeah, and that's why, you know, moving forward this summer, I think we need to keep that lane of discussion open about how we wanna keep pursuing this. Cause yeah, obviously, I mean, the boaters have their strong feelings towards it as well as they should. And, you know, the city has an investment in it as well, so, I think we need to keep the discussions open and nothing really be off the table at this point.
I'd be interested if there was any kind of a feasibility study that we could do, even if it's informal, about people in the area. Are the numbers increasing on people owning boats, or what's going on? Do you fellows have any sense of what's going on with that population?
They don't wanna use the ramp to launch their boats.
So it's our marina that they're
Yeah.
not using, it's not.
bad.
But how do we know that? How do we gather some statistics on that?
My son's in the bass club and they tell you, he's not gonna ruin his $100,000 boat. No.
Or right over to on a weekend,
Yep, Clinton
to
Marina.
9th Avenue, and start looking at the license plates. There's quite a few home vehicles over there.
Yep.
People coming even
They
that
wanna go
don't
where
live
their
in
boat's
Fulton,
safe.
people from Morrison and stuff will go across the bridge.
Don't go to Albany.
Yeah,
They'll go to Albany lunch.
Well, if Albany's got, what'd you say they just put in?
Well, they haven't done anything yet, but they were awarded a $200,000 grant.
Yeah, so.
They've got a nice launch pad though.
Yeah, they got a real good launch
Yeah.
pad down there. And that's, you know, the question I got is, you know, $500,000 to $750,000 just to get the launch up to where it needs to be. That's not counting anything else we gotta do with.
And there's quite a few docks that need repair, but you know, that it all costs money. You know, we repaired docks last year in the tune of about $70,000,
And a lot of them go down to Cattail Slough and launch.
as long as the water's up.
Yeah, the
Yep.
water's up, if it's not, they have trouble.
It's pretty deep down
You
there.
look on a weekend and just sit by the North Bridge now. This summer might be different because the North Bridge will be closed, but you watch people going across the river and they go over there in Clinton and launch.
And the funny, not funny thing is, we get a lot of people from Clinton that come over here because they like our marina better. So it's a kind of a tit for tat, but.
Yeah, but they come over for the marina itself,
Right.
not too much to launch their boats.
Right.
I mean,
So what's the
This is
attraction
insane.
for them that they come here?
To be honest, I don't know, they like our marina, it's kind of secluded from other people, so they don't get, you know, like if you think of the Clinton Dike, there's a lot of traffic that goes through there in the trains and, you know, over here, it's kind of their own little
And
world.
break-ins, there's a lot of break-ins over there.
Oh, well, see, then we have a lot of things going for us.
Yep, it's just, you know, some of the people that they left.
Got water.
because- Well, I wouldn't say they got water, they're in the same boat we are, but.
yeah, they're going to be in the same
Yep.
boat.
But it's, you know, at that time, they were dredging and we couldn't get anybody to dredge, and so they moved to Clinton, and so. I mean,
I mean, how
I
much,
don't know that,
how much to dredge that properly? Give a rough idea.
I'm gonna put a number of $500,000 out there, minimum.
Well, then you
So
aren't
we're sitting
satisfied
anywhere
with the
from $1 million to $1.25 million.
If
Get
you
it up to
wanted to
where it
do
needs
it,
to be.
if you wanted to do it right and do everything that needs to be done, I would say you're probably easily looking at that, and that's honestly probably a low number, is my guess.
So roughly, if you wanted to figure it, you're looking at a 1.5.
More than likely, yeah. Cause there's some docks down there that are in pretty rough condition right now.
Well, and the other thing is Clinton's got more docks than we do. And some of them are covered.
Yeah, they also, the Vision Iowa grant is what they were able to utilize.
They got that back in the early 2000s, I think.
2006, 2007, something like that?
We were talking about it because we could have got in them with it.
Yeah.
In that grant with them.
Yep.
And we couldn't get it. I mean, that's the problem in Illinois, when we go to do some of this stuff, we're fighting with DNR, Corps of Engineers, and there's another one in there too, that you gotta get all three to agree. And the problem we had back in '06 was you could get two to agree to it, but the third one wouldn't. And then when you get that third one talked into it, one of the other ones would decide they don't want to do it. And that's why we didn't get in on that grant with them. We tried real hard to do it. It just didn't
Yeah,
work.
like I said, we're really about all we can do now is, you know, keep our fingers crossed Clinton gets this port designation, cause that'll open us up, to a lot. Some of you may have heard, I think it was 2 years ago, Rock Island got the port designation, and they're spending millions of dollars in Sunset Marina right now, which was in pretty rough shape there for a while, and they're in the process of dredging and updating docks and all the things that we need to do, so right now, I think we just need to keep our fingers crossed that that can happen, and we can hopefully utilize it.
And when will Clinton know that?
I'm not sure, I don't know exactly when they applied, I just know they have applied.
Yeah.
So I can maybe ask Andy and Matt and see if they have a better idea of when it'll.
We'd like that because then more boats can stop there that are,
Yep.
I don't mean just local boats, but cruise boats and stuff can stop if they can get in there. Yeah, that'd be
And
awesome.
many years ago, there used to be quite a few that used our marina for fuel, cause it was easier to get in and out of, so. hopefully someday we can get back to that point.
But those Iowa dollars really just pour over in Clinton. I mean, the whole Candlelight building and everything was all just Iowa dollars that came back to Clinton. It was nice.
Yep.
All right, any other? All right, committee reports. Public safety's got one in there. Any questions on that? Any questions for Barb?
Jill, Barb, and Chad and Sue, we met. You wanna pick up Chad? You wanna details tonight?
Yeah, so we've been talking, myself and Eric and obviously everybody here, we've all talked about this previous administrative penalties funding that has been taken in, but has somewhere managed to be in the general fund. Me and Eric looked at the numbers again today. We got a pretty good idea of all the money that's coming in. I was able to locate one that has gone out, but we're gonna potentially find, wanna keep looking to see if there's any discrepancies on money that went out to see if that 81,000 number is correct. And then hopefully once we can dial that 81,000 number to an exact number, cause like I said, some money has came out of that. We just gotta find out, verify 100% where that money went. And then once we find that number out, I think we're gonna try to ask the council if we can move that money, with the remaining funds from 2015, I believe it was. 16, from 2016 to,
Correct.
well, not current, I got a plan with that, but it won't be till current, it would be till December 31st of 24. Cause that's what the numbers that we already have on the sheets. And we would request to move that money to an account, don't remember exactly which one.
It's 6100, which is vehicle equipment / replacement fund. Which we already have on the books, it's in our, if you look on page, it'd be page 8. It's already there, so it's a fund we already have existing, so why they stopped using it, I'm not sure, but we would just start to utilize that line item again.
And then with that money transferred into that account, I have an expenditure sheet that I've put together for adding an additional officer, of all the equipment needed to outfit the new cars. We're looking at roughly 44,000. Obviously, I would still try to trim a bunch of fat from that number, try to save us as much money as possible. But the point is, our hopes are to let the fees that bad guys have paid us pay for our equipment instead of costing our taxpayers we're taking that money from the general fund from our taxpayers, which can be utilized for other projects.
So just so I understand, there's the money that's being recouped that was sitting in the general fund that should have been in the police fund to begin with. And then you're-
Into a line item, yes ma'am.
Okay, and then you're talking about also adding the fees that were for the cannabis business registration fees that will be coming into play.
Yes ma'am, but that will go into the vehicle replacement fund. So this will be an equipment fund
Okay,
from the previous administrative penalties, and therefore moving forward, those will go into an equipment fund. And then the registration or whatever fee you wanna call it, that will strictly go to a vehicle replacement fund.
okay.
Which will stay within the cannabis fund.
Right.
So cannabis has its own fund because it has its income and outgoing, similar to, it's an enterprise fund like water and sewer. So it'll just have its own special line item within cannabis.
Because Barry split those 50/50.
So he's asking for an earmarking of that.
Right, it would just be us creating a line item for that.
Okay, thank you, that helps.
So that's what we talked about.
Money coming from the toll fees, won't pay for equipment.
Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to understand, because if that was going into the vehicle fund, I was gonna suggest we put some of that down in that loan too, but if it's earmarked for equipment, that makes sense, because
Yeah, and that's the goal. I'm not saying that it couldn't be used for any type of vehicle stuff. It could be, because it is at the discretion per ordinance.
Gotcha.
But if to, you know, if we need a new computer and we really don't have it in the budget, I could be like, hey, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and take it from the administrative penalty fund. And that way I don't have to, and cause here's the big thing. Like the number one item on for a new officer, $11,000 for a radio. It's, if I have the money, it's a lot easier than saying, hey, I need to ask the council if you can give me $12,000 from cannabis, or can I have X amount of money? It's already self-sufficient, so I don't have to
Yeah.
keep coming to, I mean, obviously something like that, I would be like, hey, just so you guys know,
We're spending this.
I'm gonna be spending a bunch of money, like for, like, right now, this is a really, I mean, that's a high number, I hope to have it. At least, I think I could shave $5,000 or $6,000 off that really easy. But like, these are things that, there's nothing extra on there, I try to be as transparent as possible, to make these things happen.
But we asked to have that attached so you could actually see what these items are for and how much they are. And that's what that, we'll continue to work. So you wanna hold up that, we just got copies of that cannabis manual. It's on the internet, and so Renee copied one for Sue, one for me, and one for herself. And that has a lot of good information on how we can go about, we don't call them licenses, we don't call them registration fees.
Right,
but
it's just-
in that book, they call them an occupational tax. If you are occupying a spot in a municipality, there's a occupation tax. So, you know, we're learning a lot about what's going on.
We already have an occupation tax,
Oh, we already have that? Okay.
but
In
we have an
addition to the sales
occupation
tax.
tax that doesn't have anything to do with cannabis. So there's an occupation tax that, we get from the state of Illinois. But you wouldn't be able to call it that since we already take that in. So it would have to be
Business,
Dispensary?
yeah, it says we can do a business
a
fee,
fee.
yeah. Yep.
Alright.
So,
Anyway,
just to
there's more
continue.
to learn here.
Yeah, so just to continue, so yeah, after me and Eric get together this week and find out an exact solid number, we'll be coming back and requesting, that those funds be transferred. But like I said, we'll get an actual solid number, we'll do a little audit to make sure that the incoming and outgoing match up, so we have a good number to give you guys.
Sounds good, thanks, Jim.
Tourism,
Outsource,
anybody got questions for tourism?
Tori wrote those, we had a meeting, and of course, the big thing on the horizon, Dutch Day's coming up here. And so we're gearing up for that. And all the city attractions are busy now, getting ready for activity and getting people into our town. Trying to spruce it up and put it down. I already mentioned Eric, the bunting on the Lincoln Highway gazebo over there on 10th Avenue is all tattered and torn, and so we just like to get all those things that when people are coming into town, they're looking spiffy and neat.
City administrators report. Any questions for Eric?
Well written, Eric, thank you.
Nice.
I did have a question about, so just to clarify, just because I know this changed a little bit from our initial discussion about where the additional education courses were gonna come from, so that has switched to this ILCMA, is that the same as the 18-month course that we initially talked about?
So I just got confirmation Friday. So the ILMCA is, that's a local, Illinois Managers Association. And they're more of a, if you've got questions on something, there's a bunch of them, you can put it on a forum and they'll give you answers. The actual class that I will be taking, starts in August of this year, and it's a 12-month course, but it's, designed for Illinois, and it's the Certificate of Public Management is what it'll be called. So that'll be coming in August, where one day a month I'll have to be up in Chicago for class. But there is a class coming up that I will be taking through Northern Illinois University, but that is in May 22nd, I believe. And that's for new city administrators, city managers, so.
Awesome. Feeling comfortable with all these resources that are available?
Yeah, the ILCMA has been a great resource to have. John Phillips used to be city administrator down Rock Island. He's reached out, offered up his assistance as needed. And yeah, they've been a great resource so far.
Okay. That was my question.
Anybody else? All right, need a motion to go into closed session.
Oh, there was something else on here, what, Alderman's comments. I have a question on the bridge closing and what kind of impact that's gonna have for us in the city. You're saying
I
that,
don't-
Chad? You're shaking your head like you're.
It's gonna be a train wreck at the South Bridge. Literally, it's gonna be bad.
I just wondered, on the municipal, what kind of impact does it have?
I mean, I don't foresee a huge impact for us since we do have the Route 30 bridge so close to us. So I don't foresee it being a huge impact. Obviously, if we wanna go to Clinton, we're still gonna go to Clinton. Somebody wants to go to Manny's, they're gonna go to Manny's. So I don't foresee it. I'm sure there'll be a little bit of it that you'll be able to notice right away, but and that'll, I think, fade off as summertime goes, but yeah, I think we'll be okay.
People will learn when the congested times
Yep.
are, when they're not.
Right.
When is it closing?
May 12th
May 12th.
And it's for 6 months?
till October 1st, tentatively.
When people ask if you could please let them know this is an Iowa DOT project.
The city of
because everybody
Fulton has
thinks
nothing to
it's-
do with it.
The full state of Illinois has
Our Illinois is
Not a thing to
strictly
do
an
with
Iowa
this.
DOT project.
Well, and we like strong bridges, right? We're all
We do.
supporters of that.
Yeah, I think we all want a safe bridge, so.
Hope they make the walkway wider though.
I don't know how much luck they're gonna get with that.
I think they're just resurfacing it all.
Patience, patience, patience.
I think we're gonna get a little bit lucky that they bumped it back a little bit, as far as, us being able to do wide loads. With spring coming around the corner, the wide loads that go across the North Bridge are probably still gonna be able to go across for a good portion of that. But then I got a feeling I'm gonna have a meeting next week, maybe this week yet, with the sheriff, who didn't know about the bridge closure. Had no clue, neither did the chief deputy, and we're gonna have to come up with a plan to be able to assist them down at the South Bridge. Because I got a feeling that we're gonna be down there a lot.
It'll have a huge impact for me. I mean, I cross that bridge a lot, so I'll have to plan more than what I do now.
But I have to leave a little earlier.
Yes.
A lot earlier,
You're a lot earlier, depending on
especially
what
if I
time.
wanna go to church, which is right on the other side of the
You
bridge.
can go to Savannah Cross, if I get there sooner.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was glad we had that.
Keith, I'm sorry, I just thought of this as I was sitting here. Local elections are, a week away?
Next Tuesday.
Basically. I forget from 4 years ago, how soon do we swear in the new members? And as I looked at the sample ballot, that could only possibly be one person switch.
We do it in the first, council meeting in May.
So it'll be the 8th. Okay. Thank you.
Because the county clerk has to have almost 3 weeks to certify. That's why, even though the election's on the 1st, she needs at least 3 weeks to
So
certify the vote. So
And then I
that
think we
doesn't-
got a new county clerk now too, so.
Yeah.
So you won't be certifying in the new, or?
They'll do it, that's why it's always the first, we don't do it until the first meeting in May.
Oh, May, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, May.
That's why that lag time is that the
Yeah.
clerk needs it's not that we don't know the total that night, it's just that.
They gotta certify to make sure it's right.
Sounds good.
Especially if it's close, they may do a recount or whatever. So, all right, motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Wilkin, Baker, Bass,
Yes.
Photograph, Campbell. Yes.